In a quaint little village, nestled amidst rolling green hills and whispering streams, there lived a priest. He was not just any priest. He was a man of unwavering faith, a pillar of his community whose devotion to God was as deep and vast as the ocean. His life was a testament to his beliefs, a beautifully woven tapestry of prayer, service, and an unshakable trust in the divine. He believed, with every fiber of his being, that his faith was his ultimate shield, a fortress that no worldly harm could ever penetrate. He was convinced that as long as he held on to his faith, God would directly intervene to protect him from any and all calamities. This conviction was the bedrock of his existence, the lens through which he viewed the world. One year, the heavens opened up with a fury the village had never witnessed before. The rain fell not in drops, but in relentless sheets, a torrent that seemed determined to wash the world away. The gentle streams that usually meandered through the village swelled into raging rivers, their waters dark and angry. Soon, the riverbanks could no longer contain the deluge, and a flood warning was issued. The village elder, a wise man with a face etched by time, went door to door, urging everyone to evacuate to higher ground. He arrived at the church, his clothes soaked and his voice heavy with urgency. "Father," he pleaded, "the waters are rising fast. We must leave now. There's a truck waiting to take us to the shelter on the hill." The priest, however, simply smiled, a serene and almost beatific expression on his face. He gently placed a hand on the elder's shoulder. "My son, do not worry for me," he said, his voice calm and reassuring amidst the growing chaos. "I have dedicated my entire life to God. My faith is my rock and my salvation. Primerabi, predan. I know he will save me. You go with the others. I will stay here and trust in his divine plan." The elder argued. He begged, but the priest's resolve was as unmovable as the stone walls of his ancient church. Shaking his head in disbelief and concern, the elder finally departed, leaving the priest to his solitary vigil. The waters continued to rise, creeping up the steps of the church, and soon the entire ground floor was submerged. The priest, unperturbed, moved to the second floor of the rectory. He continued his prayers, his voice a steady hum against the backdrop of the storm's symphony. The water lapped at the windowsills, debris from the village floating by like lost memories. A few hours later, a small rescue boat appeared, navigated by a determined group of villagers who had come back for him. They skillfully maneuvered the boat through the treacherous currents until it was right below his window. "Father, please," a man yelled over the roar of the water. "Grab this rope. It's your last chance to get out safely. The dam upstream is about to break." The priest looked down at the desperate faces below him, their hands outstretched. Yet his smile did not falter. "Thank you for your kindness, my children," he called back, his voice echoing slightly. "But I must decline. I have put my faith in God, and I am certain he will deliver me from this peril. I am waiting for his sign, his direct intervention." The rescuers, seeing his unyielding stance, had no choice but to turn their boat around and head for safety, their hearts heavy with a sense of impending doom for the man they were leaving behind. The dam did break. A monstrous wave, a wall of churning, brown water, descended upon the village, swallowing everything in its path. The church, which had stood for centuries, was engulfed in a matter of seconds. The priest, now clinging to the very peak of the church's steep roof, found himself surrounded by an endless, swirling sea. The rain continued to lash down, and the wind howled like a mournful beast. He was alone, perched precariously on his last tiny island in a world of water. Still, his faith did not waver. He closed his eyes and prayed harder than he had ever prayed before, his words a desperate plea sent up into the storm-ridden sky. "O Lord," he whispered, "I've been faithful. I have trusted you. Now is the time. Please, save me." Just then, a Coast Guard helicopter emerged from the thick gray clouds, its blades chopping rhythmically through the turbulent air. It hovered directly above the church roof, a beacon of hope in the desolate landscape. A rescuer was lowered on a winch, a lifeline swinging just a few feet from the priest's grasp. The rescuer's voice, amplified by a megaphone, boomed over the storm. "Sir, This is your final opportunity. Grab the line. We have to get you out of here. Now. The priest looked up at the helicopter, at the dangling rope, at the man imploring him to save himself. And in that moment, with the waters rising to his knees, he shouted back, his voice filled with a strange mix of conviction and desperation. No, you will be fine. I have faith in God who will save me. The helicopter crew, bound by protocol in the worsening conditions, could wait no longer. With a final, sorrowful look, they retracted the line and flew away, disappearing back into the oppressive, gray sky. The inevitable happened. The waters surged one last time, and the church roof, his final refuge, was consumed. The priest was swept away by the powerful current, his life extinguished in the very flood he was so certain he would be saved from. And so, the faithful priest found himself standing at the pearly gates, his soul drenched and bewildered. He saw God sitting upon a magnificent throne, and a sense of righteous indignation welled up within him. He strode forward, his voice trembling with a mixture of confusion and accusation. "My lord," he began, "I don't understand. I was your most devoted servant. My entire life was an ode to you. I had unwavering faith. I trusted you completely. I told everyone that you would save me. Why? Why did you let me drown?" God looked upon the priest, not with anger or judgment, but with an expression of profound sadness and gentle compassion. His voice, when he spoke, was not a thunderous clap, but a soft, resonant whisper that seemed to fill the expanse of heaven. "My beloved child," God said, his voice filled with an infinite, patient love, "I never abandoned you. I tried to save you, not once, but 3 times. The priest stared, utterly baffled. God continued, "I sent you the village elder with a truck to carry you to the safety of the hills, but you refused him. I sent you a group of brave men in a rescue boat who risked their own lives to reach you, but you turned them away. Then I sent you a helicopter, a modern marvel, with a lifeline that I placed right into your hands, and you rejected that as well." A long, profound silence settled between them. God leaned forward slightly, his eyes looking deep into the priest's soul. "My child," he said softly, "I was there all along. You were so busy waiting for a grand, supernatural miracle, a parting of the waters just for you, that you failed to see the help I was sending in the hands and hearts of other people. The miracles were there, but you were not willing to receive them in that moment." The priest understood. His faith, while strong, had been rigid and narrow. He had been so focused on his own idea of how salvation should look that he had become blind to the real world. Practical interventions God had placed directly in his path. He had underestimated fate, and in doing so, had underestimated the subtle, intricate, and often human ways in which the divine works. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. Faith is not a passive waiting game. It is not about closing our eyes and expecting miracles to fall from the sky. True faith is an active partnership with the divine. It is about having the wisdom to recognize opportunities, the courage to seize the lifelines offered to us, and the humility to accept help when it comes. It's about understanding that often, the answers to our prayers don't come in the form of a booming voice from the heavens, but in the form of a helping hand, a kind word, or a timely opportunity. Fate, destiny, or God's plan is not always about grand, dramatic events. More often than not, it is a series of small, interconnected moments, of choices and actions. We must learn to keep our eyes open to the trucks, the boats, and the helicopters that appear in our own lives. We must not be so blinded by our expectations that we fail to see the miracles that are already there, waiting for us to simply reach out and take hold.